All right. Back in the saddle again on the 2021 switch there. Just like the old Fat Bob that I used to have. Still have that little knob there. You gotta switch, which has the key there, I'm sure. Yeah. No heel shifter. I'll put the ride seat height up on the screen here for you, but I can comfortably put both feet down. Not flat, but I mean easily able to manage this bike, which weighs in at probably about at 700 pounds. I'll have those exact numbers on the screen as well. When they first released the full Softail lineup, and back on this bike, which I love a lot, this was my favorite bike to ride when I did a big full ride of, I think we rode 5 bikes that day. All right. Now right off the bat, I'm going to say these bars, they're not like mini apes. They're just meant to come back towards you a little bit. But for a guy who is 5'6", I have a 30-inch inseam. That doesn't have anything to do with where my hands are, but always say that together. For a guy who's got fairly long arms, 5'6", my arm span is probably about 5'11", 5'10". It's kind of an awkward hand position. So, you know, once we get out here to speed, it doesn't feel as awkward, but in those slow turns when I've got to move the handlebars, it just kind of, for a smaller, shorter person, it feels a little awkward. Arms out wide, but no problem seeing out of these mirrors, so that's not an issue. Sometimes when you get wide-shouldered and wide-armed, your arms block these mirrors, but there's no problem here. So far, handling here in this sweeping turn, really nice. Let's talk about these controls though, here on the Harley-Davidson Road King Special. We've got left and right turn signals both on their respective sides. We have got cruise control controls here on the left, as well as your trip monitor, horn, high beam, low beam. On the right here, you've got hazards, ignition, spike on and off, and your right turn signal, like I said before. But you still have to turn the bike on here at the console here in the middle, so you got that to think about too. Gas gauge comes standard, looks like, on this bike, which is not really a feature, but you do have the fork locks here right on top of the fork. I will put the suspension specifications right here on the screen for you, so you know. But just easy power on this 114. I had to check because I'm not sure. 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine. But trying to think about riding this bike before, I loved the sound that comes from the exhaust. I love the easy power. I love the comfortability. Even though it's an entry-level touring bike, you've pretty much got all the touring specifications, aside from having a big fairing here up front with all the doodads and the gadgets that are gonna, you know, give you navigation and your radio and all that stuff. if you're in this just for the pure pleasure of riding, and this is what I loved about the Road King, is that it's a raw touring bike. And I personally am a person who doesn't like riding with a windshield. I like the feeling of the wind, as overwhelming as that can feel at times. I enjoy that. So here we go on the freeway. Gonna get into this turn and then we're gonna let loose. There's that RPM governor. Not used to revving or switching gears so early in the rev range like I do. Well, I let my sport bikes go rev a lot higher, but the little governor here on the Harley touring models stops you from revving too high. Alright, so we've got all of our gauges here, or all of our instrumentation here on the tank, which I've said in the past, and I stick with it. I don't like that Harley-Davidson doesn't have a gauge right up here on the handlebars so that I can see it. I've got to actually dip my head if I want to see how fast I'm going. And, you know, the tachometer, there's a digital tach that's right underneath that shows you the gear and your RPM. But, I mean, a lot of good that does not do you if you've got to look down to see all of these things. But out on the highway, like I said, this is a raw bike. There's no fairing, there's no windshield, and I'm good with this. I like this feeling, and it's not overwhelming, even though you've got your hands up so that you're kind of got yourself in a position like a big sail. You know, if you're riding with a big leather jacket or maybe a jacket that's going to catch the wind, it might be a little bit harder, but for me, I ride with a mesh jacket, and the wind just passes through it, and this ride is how I like to ride. And we're up here at 70 miles an hour, and this is still comfortable. I don't feel like I'm holding on for dear life because of the wind from the freeway. And really, if you're looking at and you don't mind not having the fairing on front, this is a really nice touring bike. I just like the way that the Road King Special looks, frankly, compared to the bikes, the Road Glide and the Street Glide and the Limited. All those bikes with you know, even though this bike does have bags on it, it has a more naked feel. It's not laden with fairing, and I just like that about this bike. This seat is like a standard touring seat, so it's holding me really nicely in place, and it's very comfortable. I could see you riding on this for as long as this tank is going to stay full and still be comfortable. I believe this is probably bigger than a 5-gallon, but I will put that specification down here for you, what the standard Road Glide Special tank size is. And you're probably looking at around 45 miles per gallon. So yeah, you're gonna ride this bike for a long time down the highway, down back roads, up and down the coast, across America, wherever it might be, and you're gonna be happy. And you know, Harley-Davidson has all kinds of accessories. If you wanted to throw a windshield on here, and I believe even if you wanted to throw a fairing, I'm sure you could find something aftermarket if Harley doesn't offer something, if you wanted to go that route too. But just the way it is, I'm happy with it. And again, I put my blinker on, but I wasn't sure if it was on. I've got to look all the way down below the gas tank to figure out if my indicators are on. So that's something I think Harley should take into consideration. Maybe if you're not going to bring the instrumentation up to where I can see it, maybe make standard turn signals on your mirrors, so that at least I can see if they're on without having to look down. I mean, I don't like the idea that I have to look down to see whether my indicators are on. I don't like to look down to see whether or not how fast I'm going. Let's see how we do in this turn. Ooh, nice. Oh, yeah, that 114 is beefy. But at the same time, like I said, if this was going to be your first touring bike, or maybe first bigger bike, you're looking to graduate maybe from a Sportster, or maybe you've even had a smaller Softail, it's not going to feel a whole lot different if you've ridden a Softail before. But if you've ridden a Sportster, I mean, you are going to be looking at a heavier bike, at a bike's riding position that's very different from what you're used to, depending on what you've done with your handlebars. I mean, this is out probably about as wide as you're going to get on a Harley with the handlebars. But if you're a bigger guy or gal, that's not going to be a big difference for you, and you probably appreciate that more than a shorter fella like myself. Yeah, that was nice. And we do have floorboards. Like I said, there's no heel shifter here for your peg, just here with the toe. I believe that's something you can add on if you want to. If you want that heel shifter, a lot of people that ride with the floorboards will want that. Took that turn wide again. That gravel, there's loose dirt and loose gravel there on the side, and it always freaks me out. So power, let's talk about power, because this is 114 cubic inches. I'll put the exact horsepower and torque set specifications down for you guys to take a look at. But there's a lot of power on these bikes. But the nice thing is that you're going to get this power delivered linearly. The power delivery is linear, and so if you want the power, yeah, really wrench on that throttle, and there you go. But if you want to just cruise out here and you don't want to feel like you're holding on for dear life, then you just roll on slightly. The throttles are not touchy. You don't have to worry about accidentally giving it too much and then finding yourself in a bit of trouble because you've taken off too fast, or you're coming out of a turn too hot. I don't think that you're gonna have a problem there. But like I've said with every other test ride that I've done, you've got to ride these bikes for yourself. If you guys are out there and you're curious and you're thinking about buying the Road Glide Special, go out and ride it. Find a dealer who'll let you take it out. Get out on a demo ride at a dealer near you, and find out if it's a good fit for you. Now for me, this is a good fit. It's a decent fit for me. My arms are out a little wider, I think, than I would be comfortable with for too long, but it's not terrible. Maybe I would opt for, instead of having these handlebars, is to put some mini apes that still come up towards me, but aren't so far apart. Also, maybe have more of a swept back, so even if they did come back this high like this, maybe if the handlebars angled back towards me a little bit more. If there's an option for that, that would be great. So there, we didn't take off too fast, just kind of showing you how handling the power of this bike is not difficult. I wouldn't call it starter level. Obviously the price point is not a starter level. I'll put the where the Road King starts at on the screen for you, so you know exactly. I'm going over these potholes, these bumps on purpose, just to kind of get an idea of how the Road King handles them, and it does it very well. I rode the CVO Street Glide. It handled potholes and bumps in the road well, and this one does it similarly well. And it's real throaty, beefy Harley-Davidson, classic Harley-Davidson sound, which, I mean, for me, you can't beat it. All right. So as we approach the stop sign, not this one, but the next one, we're gonna do my test here that I do for how well a bike is balanced, if it's top heavy, or if you're gonna struggle with the weight of a bike that's kind of, can be, you know, it's a hefty sized bike. And so, you know, you might question whether or not you can handle something this big. And I'm going to let you know, one thing is that as you're stopping to take these turns, you don't want your handlebars to be too turned, because you turn them too much and that's a recipe to drop the bike. And that's, especially on a demo ride here, that's not something that you want to do. But we're going to roll up slow to this one, and we're going to see how well this bike does for just rolling up slow, not having to put my foot down, and how well this bike is balanced. And I'm going to say superbly balanced. seeing how hard it is to find neutral. Oh. We didn't find it. Slow speed, just so easy to manage. No problem here with slow speed maneuvering on this Road King. And then it really likes these broad sweeping turns. I'd love to hit one of these, you know, by myself and really open it up and see how it feels, but I can tell you right now, it's not going to have a problem. It feels really nice. So just to reiterate a little bit on how wide these bars come out, what I'm feeling is the inside of my palm, you know, kind of where my thumb meets my forefinger, right up in here, my hand is starting to feel a little sore, because it's not a natural. My hand wants to go like this, but it's having to do this, and so it's kind of digging into my hand a little bit. And to fight that, I've got to kind of flare my elbows out, and that's not a comfortable riding position either. So just something to consider. That's obviously not something that Harley's going to change, because, you know, everyone is different sized. But it's something for you to consider, as if you're a shorter person or you have shorter arms on the Road King Special, or I'm guessing on the Road King as well, is that you're really going to have to be cognizant of how your hands are situated on the handlebars, on the grips, and how that's going to feel after you know, a few hours of riding. Because I've only been on this bike for, you know, less than half an hour, and I can feel it in my hands already. Obviously it's going to be something to adjust to if this is going to be the bike that I'm going to choose, but something for you to think about as well. But guys, if you have any questions about the Road King Special, make sure you leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm down there all the time, making sure I'm getting back to my viewers. And if you have a Road King Special 2021, let us know how it feels. How do you like your bike? But guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you are out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name is Eric. I'm that one guy, and I am out.